thought tomorrow, starting at like 1 or 2, we were supposed to start getting some more PM.
I know they said it was, they've came up with the temperatures because it was supposed to be really, really cold and it's not as
Right.
bad.
Phil wanted to remind everyone that we are live
Yeah.
on YouTube. I
Live
just
up
saw
in
the
the
streaming.
We'll wait for him. Did you fix dinner tonight, Justin?
Yeah, absolutely. I ordered Subway.
Oh, sorry about that. Who else had issues getting in to the meeting with the link that was sent? I know
There
the
were
mayor,
2 links on that
JT.
email. I saw 2 links on
Yeah.
the email, Phil, and the top one I couldn't get in. The bottom one I got right in.
Okay. I tried to send it as a calendar invite this time, and I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. What I'll do is I'll just copy and paste the information about the meeting into an email directly to you. That way there's no issues. So I apologize for that. But we should be live on Spectrum and YouTube. So.
All right, we'll give it a minute here. Elliot had to walk away there a minute. There he is. All right, 6:32. Welcome to the Minerva Village Council Workshop, February 9th, 2021. Going to turn it over to Phil Tursky, the administrator.
All right. Got a couple things tonight, but I want to start with pavilion rentals. I've asked Justin to be here for your questions on this. The last we talked about how to handle those pavilions and get everybody's idea. So I kind of want to have an open discussion about kind of where our heads are at around this. Because of the guidelines that are still in place by the state and by the county, we are unable to have gatherings of more than 10 people, which means that us renting out the pavilions, we're endorsing that they can be there. Therefore, I think we would share some liability if something were to happen. I am making the recommendation that we make the pavilions first come, first serve. We don't take any kind of reservations. Therefore, we don't take any money in for those. And then it kind of gets us to the cleaning. We talked with JT, Patty, and Justin today to try to get an idea. The pavilion rentals have always covered the cost to have someone go down there and change out the trash at the parks during the weekend. Without having pavilion rentals, hypothetically, there should be less people at the pavilions, but everyone knows that there's going to be people at the pavilions regardless. Someone from the park department is always going to have to be there, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, to water the flowers. We don't want to neglect the trash in the park. So what we're proposing is that, and this can be modified if there's issues throughout the summer, of having whoever is watering at the park take the additional time to go watering the flowers uptown, taking the additional time to go to the park and change out the trash, whether it be Saturday or Sunday, but it won't be both days. We will keep the bathrooms locked for the year because we cannot afford to have someone go down there cleaning it after every use or every so many hours. We will be incorporating that. We will put some more porta johns down there for public use as well. Any thoughts, questions, comments, questions to Justin about how it's gone in the past? Ideas, bring it on.
Has anybody inquired about renting a pavilion yet this year, or is it kind of early?
We've had some questions over the winter, and then I think, Patty, is it between 10 and 15 that have taken their reservations from 2020 and pushed them over to 2021?
Correct. I think there was 13 or 14. Yeah.
Okay. So a handful of inquiries and then, what we have from 2020.
Are we gonna
How many picnic tables you plan on putting in there?
Yeah.
Well, I would say reduce. I would say reduce the total amount that we put up there. I heard some comments that maybe one of the council members had said put no picnic tables out there. That's kind of up in the air. I will say that hopefully we get the damage that was being done last year to the picnic tables under control now that we have the cameras up. But take that into consideration too, that it may be present in the spring again once the picnic tables are back out there, if we put them back out.
Are they holding any events at the community building?
Right now, I haven't talked to Karen Pennick in the last 2 weeks. I do not know.
The firemen are not having their thing down there. They're thinking end of April, they're gonna do it virtual again like they did last year.
I guess I'm confused on this 10-person rule thing. I mean, I was just at a basketball game with probably 100 other people Friday night in a confined space.
Yeah.
Now, is it going by county? Is that how because each county different on what you can do and
No.
what you can't? Okay.
No, it's all the guidelines put out by the state. The last time I actually just tried to get in contact with the health department again today to make sure we still fall under the guidelines of, let me get to it. Last year, the parks were put under consumer retail services and entertainment. So we had to abide by those restrictions and then also the 10-person limit.
What if we took the small pavilions, put a couple tables in the small ones and maybe 3 in the big one and call it a day? What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, like I talked to Phil earlier, and I think if we load the, they'll use them if we fill them up. If we put 10 tables or 15 tables or whatever we have at different pavilions, they'll definitely use them. So I think less tables is definitely more. I think that's the right way to go. Maybe
the one big one down in Bicentennial, what did we usually put in it? How many?
Oh, we have a lot there. I think we have at least probably 15 tables there.
Well, maybe in that one you put 4 or 5, spread them out, and then the other one put 2 in the small ones. Just go with that. That's just my idea.
Who's responsible for enforcing the 10-person?
You're not, because we'll post the signage that we're not responsible for anything.
Yeah, we'll
That's
we'll
why
work with the health department to figure out. Go
right.
ahead.
We won't have to worry about that because we're not taking a reservation. So if they show up with 50 people, they're on their own. So Mason, what do you think?
I don't know what we're trying to decide. I mean, we're not going to have rental pavilions, so throw a few tables down there and call it a day, right? I mean, what are we deciding?
Well, I want to get everyone's opinion on reducing the tables. I did hear that there was a talk about potentially putting out no tables. Then it's the trash issue. I'm sure we will get additional complaints that it's only being picked up once over the weekend. But as I explained, without renting the pavilions, we're not making up that money to have someone come in to clean those.
I just think the important part is just to make sure that we are conveying that, hey, we are not renting out pavilions. This is the reason why. we're not advocating for you to go down there and to use the pavilions, but if you do use the pavilions, we would like for you to bring a trash bag and take your own trash out. Now we know that that's not going to happen, but at least we put it out there. I just think we need to be kind of transparent on, the reason why we're doing this, and that's it.
Justin, we clean the parks every day. You do the garbage every day during the week, right? Or almost?
No, in
as
the winter,
need be.
not as often. In the summer, usually we do trash on Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that takes care of all the rentals if there is any over the weekend, and then we do all our other mowing and stuff, but basically Monday and Friday.
Okay.
So what's council's pleasure on this then? If we go no rental, we just make sure we're clear, like Mason said, about what we're doing, and just go with that? Or is there some other way you'd like to see it go?
What if we want no rental until June, or until, I don't know, if something gets lifted or just something like that? Or whatever you guys think. I'd hate to see us not make anything at the park, or.
I would treat this as a evolving situation that if the state were to relax on the deadlines, we could reevaluate how we're going to handle this. I would be hopeful by the middle of summer, some changes have been made, therefore allowing us to rent pavilions again.
Yeah, but if we do, so I'm not against that idea, but if so-and-so, we're saying no rentals now, and so-and-so uses it in May, and then here, June, things get lifted, and now we start charging people, are we gonna have a potential issue there? Where,
Well, I think the
I mean-
charging reserves the spot. I always go back to when my sister got married in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. They didn't do reservations for the gazebo. So as a 25-year-old, just out of grad school kid, I was there at 9 a.m. holding the spot so no one else got it. I mean, if they were able to put money down, no one else would have been able. The money reserves your spot. The first come, first serve is more,
so, okay.
what it is.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me doing first come, first serve until further notice, and a few tables out, and
Okay, and publish it very clearly on what our point is, of why we're doing what we're doing, and what and about the no responsibility kind of thing.
Proceed at your own risk. Yeah. And I think we leave ourselves open to, if there's a huge trash issue, we'll reevaluate at that time if we need to make a modification.
What's the difference between having porta johns and using our bathrooms?
I think if we open the bathrooms, we're required to clean them every 2 hours.
But nobody's required to clean the porta johns every 2 hours.
Somebody else's porta john.
But they're not required to?
I would think. I don't know, to be honest with you.
I think a lot of the way they do them now and have them rented out and set in places is inside the porta john is the appropriate additions have been made. There's like wipes and stuff like that in there that's not normally in there. So, but I don't know that. We'd have to check with whoever, what their regulations look like for them. We can check that. We get them from RC Miller, JT.
Mhm.
We could check with them, see what.
Yeah,
their-
I could check with John Pilati.
Yeah, just make sure what their requirements are.
Okay.
Anything else on the pavilions?
I guess I'm just not clear where our liability lies between renting it to 10 people or letting it first come, first serve, and 100 people showing up with lawn chairs and having a party down there.
We haven't been involved in the transaction is what I would have to think the answer would be. We have a place that's open in the park, just like going down the sliding board or getting on the swings. You're gonna sit in the pavilion, that's up to you. If you have 100 of your friends with you, we have told you that that's not, what's supposed to happen, and you decide that that's not what you're gonna do, then that's what you're not gonna do.
So if I take someone $75 and tell them they can only have 10 people down there and they break the rules, isn't it still on them?
I don't know, because we've got a contract with them.
Well, then they breach the contract.
Yeah. That's why I think everybody's kind of leaning towards don't rent them, because then you're not going to get into that where they sign a rental, pay some money, fully knowing they're not supposed to have more than 10, and all of a sudden they've got 40. There's no way for us to control that.
We're not
Okay,
controlling
I'm with
it.
Elliot, I didn't hear you. There was a lot of background. I couldn't hear you.
I said, okay, I'm with Mason.
Okay. All right, Phil, do you have the way you think you understand?
I do.
Murphy, you all right with what's going on here?
Yep, that'll be fine. And like I said, when I come in to water the flowers, whichever day of the week that is, I'll check the trash and we'll go from there.
Okay. Okay. What
Hey,
else?
thanks, Justin. If you want to hop off, you're more than welcome to. I appreciate you jumping on.
All right, thank you. See you guys later.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Justin.
See you, Justin.
All right, the only other thing I have would be to talk about the mowing of the cemeteries. We got the quotes back from Farron. They were included within your council packet. DeHoff's
Enviroscapes.
and Enviroscapes. Yeah. Did council have any questions concerning those?
Hey, what was the reason why we had to do two separate quotes for weed control and for mowing?
We let the weed control as an optional quote in case you guys decided not to do it. Because Mason, when we were in the meeting, we talked, you threw out the idea that, can we do weed control? I said, we can, but we'll put it down as an optional in case everyone else says, no, let's not do weed control. So, we can put it on, it would be for both. It would be for, if you went with Farron, it would be for $19,900.
Did everybody get a chance to look at the quotes?
Yeah. I guess my question is, we have to take lowest quote, right?
No, it's not the legal side of it. If you have reason to believe that the low quote is not what will meet your needs, then it wouldn't be necessary, but we'd have to justify why we didn't take the low quote. Would that be justified?
Well, this is not
Determination is
competitive
lowest and
bid
best.
either.
What's that, Clark?
This is not a competitive bid. This is under 50, and so we don't technically have to, but we want to go out and get quotes. So it's not a competitively bid where we have to take the lowest and best, which still gives us some discretion, but we're not even within that framework. So you don't have to take the lowest here.
What are you thinking, Mason?
This is a 1-year contract, correct?
Correct.
Listen, I don't know what everyone else, where everyone else stands on this. I think you guys know what I've said all along, that I'm just, this is one of those couple of things that I get tired of seeing not done right. But with that being said, with sitting down with Farron and adding the extra mows in, with adding the weed control in, he seemed open to our suggestions. It's quite a difference. Did we put this out to anybody else, or was this just to the 3 places?
We contacted several others, but they did not respond.
Okay.
So is Farron the one that's the 19.5?
Yeah.
And then D-Hoff is 25.5?
Correct.
And then who's the
Virus
36?
And
Virus
Virus
Escapes.
Okay. Okay, right there.
To me, if I am okay with going with Farron again, under the 1-year deal and under the conditions that
Is that when we,
the cemetery looks better than it did last year. I mean, in years past, I think the weed control will help. I think mowing twice in the spring will help. I think he's aware of what needs to be better, and I'm okay with another year if it's going to be better.
Well, I think the other side of it is if we're kind of following up on what he's doing, if we make some checks on him and stuff when they're mowing, and just see what we're seeing right off the bat. Don't wait for somebody to call. Let's see if we can't catch some stuff, if he's got something going on. So is everybody on board with weed control? No matter who we go with, are we on for weed control?
Yeah.
And Farron, that weed control was not, that's not the field.
No, that doesn't include the field. That would be a supplemental thing.
And he
That's
would
just
do that,
for
JT, or is it?
Yeah,
Or
we would just do a separate purchase order for that. He told me the price, but I don't remember off the top of my head. It wasn't very much.
I think if we're serious about weed control, we had to look into down the road doing it ourselves. It's not expensive and it's not really time consuming. If we bought a permagreen machine, I mean, we're talking an hour or two every couple months.
That'd be something to look at.
It's
I mean,
$400.
it's a riding fertilizer. I mean, you can do, 3-acre lots in town in 20 minutes. So, I mean, a couple hours every 3 months, putting treatment and chemicals on isn't difficult.
You look, the only thing you'd have to look at is the actual cost of 2 hours, how many times.
Well, I can tell you the permagreen for a decent one's about $8,000.
Yeah, I mean, not to purchase the equipment. I'm talking more on the time and the expense.
But this guy's charging $400 to do it.
That takes 20 years to get your investment back.
Because it doesn't cost us $20 to do it. It costs us more than $20 an hour to do it. Because you got to figure in the whole package of who's working. So, but I think we could look at it going forward.
I mean, at that point, it wouldn't.
What?
Never mind.
Anything else on that? Okay.
No.
That answer your question? So are we gonna, just as a consensus here, are we gonna go with Farron?
I vote for
I'm fi-
Farron.
I'm fine with Farron.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all right, Elliot?
Yep.
Okay. All right, that just clears up which ordinance. So we're gonna go with Farron with the weed control, correct? Okay. Clark, do you know that, which ordinance we'll need? Or which
Pardon?
motion?
Yeah, so you'd just be doing J. And so we'd plug in the quote of Farron and an amount not to exceed 19.9.
So you're gonna use J, right?
Correct.
You're not gonna use I.
Right.
Okay. You get
So
that,
using
Brenda?
Farron.
Got it.
Okay, all right. What else?
For me, that's all I have until we get to council.
Okay. JT, do you want to cover anything ahead of time?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll talk about the dairy and Clark. If we go anywhere where we shouldn't, just feel free to jump in. We started noticing at the last council meeting, we started noticing some slug discharges on January 25th and 26th. We also had some the 27th, 28th, the 30th, February 1st, February 2nd, February 3rd. On February 2nd, it appeared to me and the guys down at the plant that the dairy was doing absolutely nothing to mitigate the situation that happened. They had reported to us that they had a pH imbalance that killed off their biomass, and it caused their plant to upset. So I talked to Clark on Tuesday the 2nd, and I think I'm not sure if we talked to the trial attorneys that day or not, but they gave me the authorization to go ahead and threaten suspension. So I called Adam Mueller that evening. He didn't answer, so I did leave a message that we were considering suspension of his sewage use ordinance under 921.16B. If they did not get their situation under control. Adam did have the plant manager call me back. I talked to him. I relayed our concerns. And the next day on Wednesday, February 3rd, we were still getting heavy slug discharges, heavy solids in the effluent. So we prepared the notice of suspension, and that was served to Adam Mueller and Henry Mapes over to Minerva Dairy. The 3rd at, I believe it was 12:58 p.m. Now with the ordinance that we went under, they had 24 hours to either show compliance or show that they could control the situation and mitigate the situation. We came in Thursday morning and their clarifier had settled about 3 feet below the weirs. So according to the ordinance, they did demonstrate compliance. So we had to rescind the suspension. And I guess that's a brief summary. If you have any questions, go ahead and shoot.
How they been since?
Good. We haven't had anything since last Wednesday. We did have we have a what's called a sequential sampler that's in our influent that was provided to us by the EPA several months ago. We've been running in our influent daily, so it takes a sample hourly so we can get a picture of what's coming in every hour, 24 hours a day. We did notice some solids coming in Saturday overnight. Friday overnight to Saturday morning. It wasn't horrible. I mean, it could possibly be a violation if we got a sample, but we did respond to the dairy Saturday morning, got a sample, and the sample didn't have an exceedance of the permit limits. Other than that, we haven't got anything that I'm aware of.
Were we ever in violation with the EPA down at our place?
We did exceed our discharge limitation on Friday, the 5th. There's a bunch of different factors that go into that. One was the high solids that we've gotten for the period. I forget how many days, 10, 12, 13 days prior to that. Our mixed liquor was really high in aeration. We had to haul out 100,000 gallons and we pressed, let me see, about 75,000 gallons for the week. But that combined with high flow, we had an increase in flow, and that caused one of the clarifiers to become upset. We did make some adjustments and wasted another 20,000 gallons. And by 2 o'clock on Friday, the clarifier was back under control. So during that 2-hour period, we did discharge some solids that was technically in violation of our permit. We did contact the EPA. They haven't been back in contact with me yet. I think for the month, we have a daily limitation, and we also have a monthly limitation. For the month, I don't think once all the totals are averaged out, I don't think we're going to be in violation. But at that 2-hour period, we were in violation. But we have not received a violation from the EPA. The guys down at the plant, they did a heck of a job to get the clarifier under control and to stop the balking issue, though.
JT, were we going to have to haul sludge away anyway?
Yeah, during December and January, we did have some polymer supply issues, and we weren't able to press normally like we could. If we run our press 8 hours a day, we can normally press 10,000 gallons a day. Since we had the supply issues, we sort of got behind. So all those different factors with the increased flow, the dairy slug discharges, and our inability to press sludge the previous 2 months at a consistent rate, that sort of put us behind the 8 ball, and that all led to the situation that we had on Friday.
Any questions for JT?
No.
Okay. Any other things on your list tonight, JT, you want to touch on before?
We can talk the street department, our salt pre-order. We pre-ordered 800 ton for the season. So far we're at 632 ton. Our quota 640 ton. We're definitely going to make our quota, so we will not receive any storage fees. Last night we removed some snow piles from the uptown area. In the water department, we had a water main break on Northwest Street. It's 1.5 inch old iron feeder line, I guess I'll call it. It is in really bad condition where we whenever we noticed the leak, we started excavating and we had to sort of chase the leak. We didn't dig exactly where the leak was. So where we dug, there was 4 previous leaks there. So we found 4 previous repair clamps. And then we had to go about 10 to 15 feet to the south before we got to where the actual leak was at. And that line is it was bad. It's in bad condition. It's really scaly, and that's probably going to need to be replaced. It only serves 3 properties, but we're going to have to put that on our list of things to do in the near future.
Where's that run from between?
Line Street. It goes off of Line Street north, and then there's a duplex there on the left, and then the Evanich building. And I'm not sure if it feeds the old bank building or not, but I know it feeds the Evanich accounting off of that feeder line. But I think that's the only 3 properties.
How many feet is that? How many feet of line to replace the whole thing?
I'd say probably 500 feet, if that.
And would it go back in as the same size or be upgraded?
I'd upgrade it to at least a 2 inch. I mean, you wouldn't really want to put a 6 inch because the volume of water it might get stagnant and stale in the line if you put a 6-inch in. So I'd probably go with at least a 2-inch like what we did over on McDowell.
Now, this is the same section that Columbia Gas has been playing in, right?
Yes.
About 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, their line is right in the middle of the road. Our line is on the west side of the road in the southbound lane.
Should we be then looking at getting an estimate on what that's going to cost, and so we start down that path?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be comparable to the Union Street line, and also the line that circles, loops around the aluminum plant.
Yeah. Can we do that one, or we have to have that one done? We can do that one?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. So it's pretty much the time and the price of the pipe.
Correct.
Yeah,
And I think the other 2 projects that we had on our to-do list, they're ballparked right around $6,000. This will probably be about the same.
Yeah, we don't want to have any issues in there, that's for sure, so. Anything else, JT?
That's all I have, Mayor.
Anybody else have anything you need to bring up at workshop? Bill?
We're waiting to get some more information on the plumbing for the pool. That's why we're not talking about that tonight. The first contractor that JT consulted with kind of just said no way. So we're trying to find somebody else to come in and give us some kind of idea what that would cost. We had further conversations with the health department and what else we would have to do. All that carpeting that is glued to the floor there would have to be brought up as well. I should have had Justin stay on to tell you what that was like the first time when they did that out in front of the lobby, but it would have to be replaced with sealed concrete or tile. But we are working to get that. As soon as we had Clark and I had a meeting with the law firm that is handling our handbook. We're waiting on a document from them that I want to bring to council to have a discussion on that deals with the vacation banks and vacation time. As soon as I have that, I think I want to kind of dedicate a good hour of workshop to talk solely about that, because I feel like the rest of the issues in the handbook are relatively small. There's a few ones that may take a little bit longer to talk about, but I think if we could get by this banked time issue, we can really get the handbook done here in the next couple months. So as soon as I have that, we will have a discussion on that. But for right now, that's not ready. Oh, Clark, are we able to, we will need to have an executive session tonight. Clark, what is the language in dealing with that? Is it pending litigation, imminent personnel matter? Okay,
it would be discussion of imminent litigation with legal counsel.
Okay, so we will have that on another issue tonight. And then are we able to disclose about the settlement agreement?
That it was signed, you mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got word yesterday. Go ahead.
What, again, Clark, on the executive session motion, it will be for what?
To discuss imminent litigation with legal counsel.
Okay. Nothing specific, just that, right?
Right.
Okay. I got that. Anything else? Workshop?
Just that the settlement agreement was signed by the dairy. So that is matter should be closed on that.
Does that mean by the 19th, they're gonna send us a check for 40 grand?
I think we signed on the 28th and they've got 15 days from then, so.
I thought they signed it on the 4th.
They signed
but
it on the
it's-
4th, but in the language, it's when council authorizes, and I signed it the next day. So
Oh. So what day is that?
I wasn't told I had to do math tonight. Clark, is that the 10th by your account?
Oh, wait a minute, I'm making sure. Within 15 days of the approval by the village council. So if we approved on the February the 28th, then that should be the 15th.
January 28th.
January 28th,
Oh,
15th,
it's January 28th. I'm sorry.
15th of February, right?
Well, sooner than that. Probably about the 12th. Just say the 13th.
Clark, I think that's
And then
we need to call our
and then the
attorneys.
monthly payments would commence March 1.
So the first payment by somewhere around the 13th, the next payment March 1st.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the one they have 12 months to pay it, right?
Correct.
About $8,300 a month or a month. So does that money go to general or does it go to sewer?
That money will first be used to pay back anything that came out of the cost for the litigation. So if we took a number of the agri-sledge haulings and extra Kimball out of some of the DO4, the attorney's fees, I think we took out of AO1 or DO4, that will replace that. And then whatever is left over will go into sewer. Obviously sewer's expenses will be reimbursed out of it too, but anything that's not will go back into sewer.
I did some preliminary figures today. There's going to be about 20,000 that goes back into the DO4. And I have about 7,000 without legal fees to go back into general.
Okay. Any other workshop questions for Phil or for JT or Clark?
Oh, the metal flower boxes uptown. They still have the entree new, the pine and bows in them. Are we leaving those for the rest of winter, or are we cleaning those out at some point?
We'll clean those out whenever we go to change the flower heads from the
Okay.
poinsettia to the summer flower.
Okay. Someone asked me about it and I wasn't sure. So
Mine here at home are froze into the pot, so I can't even move mine, so. All right, anything else? All right, I guess we'll see everybody over on the other link at about 7:30. Okay?
And a quick reminder to anybody, if you're having issues signing on to the next meeting, either look for as Mason said, look for the link that is below, click the link below. If you're still having trouble, call my cell and we'll get you up and on. And a reminder, as soon as you sign on to the next meeting, it's going to be live out on Spectrum as well. We're not shutting the Spectrum down in between meetings.
Okay, see you then.
Thank you all.